Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. We have Craig, Frank and Jan here with us. First question.
Oh, back sore.
Can this international break have an impact on the momentum some teams have had so far? Which team do you think is going to benefit from it?
Well, I don't know how they'll benefit, but it might benefit somebody like Eddie Howe. I don't know, Pochettino, I don't know about Pochettino, but maybe Eddie Howe, a little rethink, restock, was all fanfare and pyrotechnics match day one, and then it's gone. It's gone. It's been a real eye-opener. You know, this Tonali, Guimaraes, this is going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. Not quite. And they've gotten away from what made them particularly hard to beat, but also very efficient in terms of the players that they had. The Murphys, the Willocks, the Longstaffs were engines in that midfield, and they've tried to change it, and it's not quite worked at the moment. Not to say Sandro Tonali is an excellent player, but when you change the dynamic of a team in a midfield, so maybe some thinking time for Eddie Howe and Newcastle.
No,
a quick reboot.
Craig, don't you think that the players, the clubs who's going to benefit this international break is the club who have the least players involved in those international games?
Yeah,
and,
but the clubs
so
with the least players
Newcastle, I don't know.
The clubs with the least players, Frank, are
Brighton.
the clubs that really are not going to be competing for much, and so.
But having
Brighton,
said that,
what don't you think about? I'm not sure Brighton has many international players. Maybe I'm wrong in it, but they can rest, they can work together, they can work on their physical aspect, they can work tactically, having a little rest, and that's what I think. You know, Chelsea is not going to resolve anything. Most players are international, so they're not going to see each other. So it's not going to resolve Pochettino's problem. Newcastle have some players involved, so it's still a problem. Again, Brighton, I'm not sure. I'd have to check out the list. But if they don't have too many players involved, it can be a very good plus for the Zerbi.
Let me get to the next question, Jan, because it's a better question, right?
No, it's not.
Yeah,
What you mean is we're running out of time. Right,
Because we're going to end up going around the houses and everything.
And I'll be sitting here off camera going like that.
All right, Jan, who will score more goals this season, Kane or Haaland? Goals and assists.
Ooh.
Good question. I think they will be close. I mean, we tend to forget how many goals Harry Kane scored last season. I think he ended up at 30 Premier League goals. He will do a lot of assists as well, because they will. It's a part of the tricks that Tuchel has to find, because he likes to go back a bit, Kane, but they have got a lot of Müllers or Musiala wanted to have that position. But I will say that based on all competitions, I will say that Erling Haaland will get more scoring points than him. Just if I may say, this week, Tuesday, PFA award, he wins that, comes there, get his trophy. Then he travels to Monaco on Thursday, to Monte Carlo to get the UEFA trophy. Come back, train on a Friday, and by the way, on Saturday he scored a hat-trick. I mean, he has started the season fantastic, and I can see no reason why Erling Haaland won't get close to his record from last season, this season too, because I think that Manchester City will be even more dominant.
Next question. Both Bellingham and Sancho were superb at Dortmund, but one of them is excelling at Real Madrid while the other is struggling at Manchester United. Why is that? Is this down to them as individuals, or is it more about the club environment they've arrived in?
I'll tell you what it is. Well, there are actually several facets to this, but the most simplistic one is that Jude Bellingham is, in my opinion, a much more talented individual, a much more rounded individual, much more mature individual, younger than Jadon Sancho, but just the way he's carried himself has been immense. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of facets, but you know, one player is looking like he could be arguably one of Real Madrid's greatest ever midfielders. Very early, but I mean, he's got the potential to do so. And the other one is career is going down the Swanee at the moment, as they say. Why are you laughing?
No, just laughing at some of the terms going down the Swanee. All right, for Jan.
Well, I like to put them in because then I met some Americans and other people go, what does that mean?
Well, what did Stevie
that-
said the other day? Squeef.
A wee squeef?
A wee squeef.
A wee squeef.
Yeah.
Is it a wee squeef would be a little nyaff?
Yeah.
What? A wee nyaff.
A wee nyaff.
Dan Thomas is a wee nyaff.
Right.
A wee nyaff. Just like somebody you want to like give him a good.
Yeah.
For Jan, what's the percentage chance that either Dortmund, Leverkusen or someone else can dethrone Bayern as Bundesliga champions this season?
Oh, that's one of those tricky percentage done things. If I take 100%, they will win the league. So then I can take for each team. I would say at the moment it's the third one, Leipzig. I can't read it very well.
Just either Dortmund or Leverkusen.
I would say at the moment, Leverkusen. If 100 is that they win it, there is a 40% that they can take on Bayern. Dortmund at the moment 10%, because what Dortmund is doing at the moment, that is nothing to do with a challenger for any title in any country.
Frank, do you think referees should be required to hold a press conference after games to explain their decisions?
Do you think what? Who?
Referees.
Should be required referees? Yes.
pack
Oh
this
my
in.
God. Well, they should have a microphone. You should speak, and we should hear what they say to the players, and we should understand why they take that decision. They should explain to that. They do that in rugby in Europe. I know they do that in France. I don't know if they do that in England and some other countries. But they explain why they take that decision. The players did that, so I do that. And it should be like that in football, especially with the VAR. We should hear how they communicate with the VAR. We should hear everything. And therefore, they wouldn't need to come to the press conference after to explain everything. But if they consider being part of the game, is what the referee says about themselves, they should explain why they take they sometimes takes those decisions where we not necessarily agree with them.
But I don't think we a press conference. I mean, that will be make a parody of if he's going to do a press conference, all the press there. But imagine this goal that Akanji is then standing from that header from Aage. Can you imagine listening to these people at VAR explaining to the referee that he has nothing to do with involvement of the game? I mean, we will think A, are they blind? B, is there something wrong with their Wi-Fi? Is there something wrong with everything? So I can't feel that a referee would like that. And can you imagine being Howard Webb calling manager to say sorry? I mean, sorry seems to be the hardest word, but can you imagine calling the managers when they're doing mistakes like that? Unbelievable.
Little Elton John reference there. Craig, how much would you have hated playing in the era of social media, and would it have changed the way you and your teammates went about things?
Oh, good question.
Ooh.
Well, there's an easy answer to this. In terms of what we used to do as a team, some of us, both 2 or 3 of the clubs was at, how we socialised together, then yes, would have to have. There's not a shred of doubt that we would have had to have tailored. I'm trying to phrase this in the right way. We would have to have tailored our activities off the field because we would have been splattered all over the newspapers. But because we were splattered all over the newspapers, but only occasionally. This would have been every time. So yeah, you know, with everybody, and we used to, particularly Chelsea was different because, as Frank knows, London, you know, in case you don't know, it's a big place, and guys were splattered all over the place. But at Celtic, you know, even if you lived in the south side where I lived, south side of Glasgow, Newton Mearns, and Henrik Larsson and others lived in the north side, it was still only half an hour.
Right.
So we actually had a very good, we had a great group of players in terms of, well, both on the field, but in terms of mixing with each other. Lots of meals, lots of beers, lots of get-togethers. And that would have, and we always were seen when we were out in the middle of Glasgow city centre, early in the week, and camera phones these days would have been. So yeah, it's just you just have to move with it. We're all very modern guys. You just got to move with the times.
Would you have been as intolerant as you are now at, say, some of your...
Excuse me. Did you say intolerant?
Intolerant.
Of what?
Some of your teammates doing very posy Instagram pictures.
Yeah, they would have been absolutely mullered in the dressing room the next day. That would have been fun. Because we're the type of dressing room that you walked in the morning and everybody just loved to be there. And all you had to do was be wearing one bit of dodgy clothing or anything. Yeah. And you it didn't have to be much, but you might have been last in, and your hair was all something was out of place, and about 20 guys were just sitting there waiting to. It was fantastic, absolutely brilliant.
The guys are laughing too because they obviously remember it the same in their dressing rooms.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, yes.
It was a different dressing room, but yeah. Craig, I'm not sure. Maybe we have had to adjust as well, don't you think? But thank God there were no phones with cameras. I think that would have ruined the football in the 90s.
Oh, well, you were at Barnsley. There was no TVs.
I was a Middlesbrough at Macmillan's. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what's going on at Macmillan's?
Don't start.
All right.
Well, we'd have seen Shaka if it was tall trees. For the boys, of the three of you, who was the best athlete? I'm interested to know what you all think here. Frank, who do you think the best athlete was of the three of you?
Oh, I will go for Jan. I mean, the guy is a monster. It's a monster. He doesn't know how to run anymore now, but I would say that physically he was the biggest.
No, yeah.
Craig.
Hold on. Hold on.
Oh my God.
You cannot say this man was the best athlete. Look.
No, he didn't say he was the best athlete. He was the biggest. I think physically wise, in cardio wise, Craig was the best. Cardio wise, oh my God, he's gonna fall.
I am 100% sure next time I come to America, there will be someone, when I come in this queue for my passport, they will say, because the way you run, we can't let you in. I'm 100% sure.
I want to race. I want to see you all in a race here.
Listen, when I went to Celtic, when I left Chelsea, it was box to box, scoring goals, right? Frank Leboeuf, fit as a fiddle, centre halves, stand at the back and shout at people. Centre forwards, Aage, Fjortoft, they stand up front and wait on the ball. Midfielders, they're doing a bit of everything. It's not a contest. Right?
No, that's true. That's true. No, cardio-wise, Craig, no doubt, cardio-wise, you were the best. Of course, in the middle of the park, you have to be the best. But, I mean, physically, the Norwegian guy was a monster. I played against him. I couldn't see the ball. I was trying to find the ball. The guy was huge.
You want to see his two mates, Frode Grodås and Erling Jonsson?
Yeah.
Oh, Frank played with both those as well. We're running out of time, aren't we?
All right, okay. Go on,
But the thing is with Frank, I think the fittest in terms of body, I have to send the compliment to France, because I had, when you couldn't see the ball, Frank, that was my thighs. They were too big. That was my problem. I am not sure. I'm not sure it was only muscles.
Who is the best
that was
now?
a shoulder.
Not was.
Best
who is the best right now athlete of the three of you?
Oh, not me.
Well, Frank.
Yeah, 100% Frank.
Right.
I tell you why. There's a video to prove it's not Jan. We've all seen it, right?
There's a mirror to prove you, Craig.
Yes, there's one of those mirrors. You know those funny mirrors you get? Those funny mirrors that put chins on you and stuff, that make you look a different shape. Plus my calves. My calves and my hams and my back. I mean, I've been for a double bubble on my back today. I went for a deep tissue massage, and then straight off the back I was at the chiropractor. I'm in bits. Frank Leboeuf wins this. Frank Leboeuf wins this.
I'm going to be Saturday at Stamford Bridge to play for Chelsea against Bayern Munich with some oldies Gianfranco is going to be there, Roberto Di Matteo, is to celebrate the 10 years anniversary of winning the Champions League and also to give a big tribute to Gianluca. So we're going to be some of the oldies on top of John Terry, Gary Cahill, and many others, Petr Cech, to celebrate the 10 years anniversary of the Champions League. So I hope, because I guess I'm going to be substitute because John Terry and Cahill is going to play in my position, but I hope to have 20 minutes to show them that I'm still in a great shape. Very great shape.
Well, please don't embarrass your ESPN FC colleagues when you're back there.
Did you get an invite?
No, I never get an invite.
I will run carefully, Craig.
There's two reasons. I'm persona non grata at all clubs, and I like that. I would not change that. Make sure you say hello to Gianfranco and Di Matteo and all those boys, and anybody who moans about me and said, "Oh, Burley, tell them I couldn't give a stuff." Just make sure you tell them that.
I will. No. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I will be your best messenger. Don't worry.
Craig, you want give a stuff.
Craig, you want to be loved. You know that. When I meet all the English fans, they always tell me this grumpy Craig, and I say he's nice. Yeah, we know. Deep down, he is nice. You want to be loved, Craig.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Tell them that, Frank. Tell them that.
Loved. No, don't lie.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.